Hello, calling all new collectors, old collectors, influencers, gatekeepers, haters, fanboys, shills, and everyone in between. We have a collecting crisis on our hands when it comes to toxic collectors, and I think we just need to get this out there. Well, what's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about an extremely delicate topic, and if you've seen the thumbnail, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That being toxicity in the collecting community. But as always, before we get into that, I do want to say that if you've not yet subscribed to this channel, now would be a great time to hit that presumptive like button, turn on your notifications, and make sure that you are a part of the club. Now, we have to ask ourselves, what is a toxic community? Well, to fully understand it, I think we need to look at the origin of the term. And what do you know? There's probably a fair amount of crossover with people watching this video. Why? Because it originally stemmed from the online gaming community, and I'm sure there's some gamers out there. Did you know that in the US, nearly half of the gamers see themselves as part of a gaming community? Which is a pretty cool thing. These communities can bring a sense of connection and help build lasting friendships based on shared interests, but they can cause problems too. From shaming, to bullying, and to actual stalking. It's kind of crazy out there, and kind of sad. So yes, unfortunately, gaming communities can turn toxic. And equally as unfortunate, so has, in my opinion, collecting communities. What should be a place for collectors to connect over a shared love of figures and pop culture has become, in some ways, a hostile environment filled with harassment, intimidation, and overall just real childish behavior from grown adults. In fact, new collectors may even feel unwelcome or intimidated and leave collecting altogether, and that's just not a great look. And speaking of bad looks, if you are a part of a toxic group or buddies with known toxic people, it'll damage your reputation. And before people start pointing the big old finger at me and my hot takes on certain live streams, remember this. Having a controversial opinion on a topic doesn't make you toxic. No, saying that someone who doesn't agree with you and that they are a moron, that makes you toxic. But look, I get it. The idea of a collecting utopia where everyone just gets along and plays nice with our toys, that's not a reality. In truth, I myself have more people blocked on Instagram and other social platforms than some of you do. Why? Because frankly, it robs me of my joy in collecting. You may say, is that toxic? Well, no, that is self-care. I can't fix everyone, and removing yourself from toxic people and places is healthy. But although you can remove yourself from toxic situations like toxic relationships, there are some that just can't make that break. So that's where I come in today. I want to do some good in our community, to do some introspection, and for you to ask yourself 3 questions. Am I toxic? Do I know toxic people? And finally, how can I keep my associations toxic free? Because in the end, like the proverb says, if it be possible, live peaceably with everyone. Now, some people out there may think, and were even hoping, that I was about to go all scorched earth on this topic, name names, blow people up, and so forth. But what does that really do? What I really think is needed is just someone had to just say it. We all collectively need to pull our heads out of our butts, take a deep breath, and slap some sense into everyone. But don't worry, I'm not going to tell you to grab your guitar and sing Kumbaya with all the collectors that you can't stand. But you may be asking, okay then, what is the point of your video? Fair question. I simply want this to be a PSA for introspection. I want to get adults to start acting a little more like adults and not children. Yes, we play with toys, but we don't all have to act like someone that stole our Lunchable at the playground. So let's start here. To my haters, hate on. I know it's crazy, but there are some people who literally just can't stand me. And I don't get it. Perhaps it's the people I associate with or don't associate with. Maybe it's what I collect or how I collect. Maybe it's because I'm a Bengals fan or because I hate the sequel trilogy. I don't know. I was on a live stream a month ago in a different show than I normally am on, and one notorious hater paid a super chat to say hello to everyone on the panel except for me. But why? Why are you so obsessed with me? Of course I jest, but I know that there will be some people that I will never be able to get along with, and that is fine. I appreciate your views and shares as you all talk crap behind my back. It's cool, fine. But you know what? There are some people that you just can't help. No big deal to me. But not everyone has thick skin. So let's talk. To the groupies out there, I'm sorry, but the circle jerking has to stop. Look, I understand that we all have our favorite YouTube celebrities and influencers and whatnot, and that's okay. But what is not okay is unquestioning, undying devotion to someone that most likely you have never even been in the same room with, let alone actually had a real conversation. Where the problem lies is when said admired person makes a statement, gives an opinion, or criticizes someone else, and then you take it as face value and think that it is gospel. It becomes the in thing to do and pile on those that the person is piling on with. It becomes the only way when their opinion has been voiced. As if from the mouth of God, your prophet has spoken. At that point, you become a mindless lemming, just following said person around and not thinking critically for yourself. You may have even been talked into making purchases that you never intended to actually make, but because they suggested it, you think that you can get points with them by buying something that they said to potentially get from a distributor that they said you may want to use, and of course, don't forget to use their code to show your loyalty. Now, don't get me wrong, that is fine, to a degree. But where the problem lies is when there is no individuality between your opinions and theirs. And the real crime is when someone voices displeasure against your favorite person and you immediately rush to their defense and shame the person for even questioning them. But breaking news! We are allowed to have different opinions, people. Heck, even Facebook groups should be allowed to have different opinions and discussions. Why is there so much animosity and toxicity within Facebook groups and other places and chat rooms when a question is asked that the mods or Facebook group owner doesn't necessarily want to address? Once again, and I ask that question, are you toxic? Do you know someone that is toxic? And what can you do to promote a non-toxic environment? Now, to the gatekeepers out there, who the heck do you think you are? I mean, you are a nerd like all of us at the end of the day. Does the size of your collection make you feel superior? Does the quality of your purchase elevate you to a higher plane? Does your collecting habits give you demigod status as opposed to someone who may just be getting into the hobby? A bigger platform or a bigger collection than others does not give you the right to disparage others. Neither does the purity of your collecting ways allow you certain levels of distinction. Are the new collectors out there annoying? Well, let's be honest. Yes. But that is okay. To my new collector friends, we know you are excited about a new hobby and a new community. But you will ask silly questions that most likely have been answered a dozen of times before. And you know what? You need the answer. Even if it's been asked a million times, you need the answer and you need to learn it somehow. So go ahead, ask away. But gatekeeper, why does it matter and hurt you so much? Are you protecting this community by not allowing certain questions? Were you not a new collector learning the ropes at some point? Did someone give you your first comic, take you to your first movie, buy you your first toy? Collecting certain lines, buying certain products from several different avenues should not be something that you even care about. How someone collects, how they display, how they pose, how they don't pose, on and on. All these things should not matter. And looking down on someone and shaming someone for doing so is toxic behavior. And then the groupies, as I mentioned, following your lead is toxic behavior. If someone has a legitimate concern and you decide to troll them and having your mods troll them, that is childish, petty, and small. If gatekeeping means that much to you to make sure the integrity of collecting is upheld, stop being a bouncer and actually help the people instead of being an a-hole about it. So, about all your self-declared influencers out there, start influencing good behavior. Y'all, life is too dang short to be feuding with people online over stupid things. As of this recording, it is October! This year is almost over. Winter is coming! And we have so many cool things coming out in the golden age of collecting, I feel. So let's rally around that and have some fun. We are blessed. We are so blessed. We really are. So let's give some people the benefit of the doubt. Let's think through how we behave. Don't be a keyboard warrior. And as I mentioned earlier, if there are some people and groups that are affecting you, remove yourself and find a better, healthier option. If you need suggestions, I am happy to help. So now it's your turn to respond, and this is open for anyone, including the people that hate me. Do you think that there is toxicity, or am I just blowing things out of proportion and people should just have thicker skin? Am I toxic? let me know. I want to make adjustments if there's things that I need to fix. I don't hide from criticism if given respectfully. If I'm on your naughty list and you really do not like my type of content and me for what that matter, why don't you go ahead and tell me? Maybe I can help clear things up, but do it respectfully, because that is what all collectors and society in general deserves. Well, that's going to do it for us today. If this is helpful content, let me know that as well. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel, and as always, happy collecting, be respectful, and I will be seeing you in our next video.